This is the last sheet you saw at the end of my blue demo, and I wanted to review some of the marker terms with you. First of all, I'm going to make a template. That template is a drawing that I do, my own sketch. I slip it underneath my marker paper, and then I trace it off. So when I've got it traced off, here's what I start doing. I start making little repeats of things. You can see by the bottom row, each one of these is different, trying to communicate what I need to teach, what I want to do with my markers. So here I am, and I'm going to review some of the terms. I'm going to take the color and drag it down, pull it through, straight down, and mix it as I come down. As I'm mixing it, think about this. The color is uniform. It's drying in the same, as opposed to me doing strokes, single strokes, where the color dries in streaks or it's uneven. That's what you don't want. This is what you do want. Another way to describe this is to say that I'm scrubbing the color. I'm going back and forth over the color, and I'm going to take it and maybe even do circular motions. This is all kind of blending too, mixing the color up so it all dries nice and even. Okay, that's what I want. And two-tone blending is something a little bit different. If I take a look at color, let's say for instance I had an iridescent fabric, and if I want to blend markers, blend colors, I've got to work while this is nice and wet. So that means you're working quickly. And quickly means that this is still wet. That's why it works. The blending works, is because it's still wet. See, I can pull the color, move it around, and get it to change a little bit, and add some tonality, working out a color. Now, another way is to say tight or finished color. That's edge to edge, the complete unit, the whole silhouette is colored. Now, partial rendering, loose or rough coloring, and I do an implied, maybe light source, where I take the color and maybe I'll work it on the right side a little bit from the left, because I'm imagining that there might be some light coming from the left side. And I let the color drape down because the fabric is actually getting longer on one side. So you're telling a story with your color as well as getting like loose, rough color. So I'll leave it that way. That's my partial, that's my finished. And now another way to talk about color is no light source at all. But just to use a trickle down, kind of like the theory of, well, it is just top down. As if gravity were pulling the color through your silhouette, through your garment shape that you're coloring. You just take the color down through the center. And that's one way to color, or you can contour color, especially if your silhouette is shaped. Now maybe you're implying fabric. Now that was more angular. This time maybe I want a little bit more drape. So maybe I can make my partial rendering a little bit rounder, because I'm implying a softer fabric or a drapier fabric, and I've got a more shaped silhouette. So I can work a little bit softer, take the color down through the silhouette, and maybe shape it a little bit more. So there's lots of ways to use color so that it becomes expressive. And I've got loose drape over here, so it's a silhouette that's rather unshaped, not fitted, and then I have a shaped color. And now, how does that affect if I want shading? I can do shading that's this way, you know, a little bit of a drape, pretty simple, nice and clean and easy. Or I can take the shape and say, guess what? It's very hugging, or it's maybe a little bit more form-fitting. So shadow, even on partial rendering, absolutely, or tight rendering. It's up to you the way that you want to use shadow. And by the way, I want to tell you that I'm working with a stylo pen. This pen is a non-metal tip, and it does not run or bleed under marker. And I'm using a Prisma Blue, true blue color, and that's what I got for my practice sheets. By the way, if you want, and if you're really nervous about rendering on something, you can always take your tracing paper pad, take out a sheet, and see, well, you know, I'll do a little practice or a little dry run here to see if I like my color. So that's one way to get by. And something else to tell you, that when you're working here, and you've got your partial rendering and you're ready for flesh tones, think about this. The chart pack or Prismacolors, whatever you're using with your markers, there are warm and cool colors. These are cool, these are warm colors for your flesh tone. That's a